Hello, everyone. This is Jakir Hussain from Boost Education Service, and we are here today with our virtual counseling session for USA studies. Definitely, you guys have already know who our guest will be by the title that we have put in, and yes, obviously, she is here, and I don't know what you guys call her, but we call her the USA, Australia, and New Zealand lady, and she is none other than Greta Carlson from Study Group. So, everyone, please welcome Greta Carlson. Ta-da!
Hey, that was amazing. Thank you so much for that introduction. Hi, everybody. My name is Greta, also known as the USA, Australia, and New Zealand lady. I'm coming to you live from Study Group, which is working hand in hand with Boost Education here, an amazing agency. And hopefully, we're going to get some of your answers or your questions answered for you today.
Yeah, obviously, guys, a question on the comment box below, and we will answer that. But definitely ask something like you really want to know, and we will be answering some different questions as well. So definitely stay tuned and keep listening because this is going to be fun. Well, Greta, it's always great to have you with us in any session we can mention. So definitely, we know you, we know study group. Why don't you tell our viewers today what study group is?
Yeah, sure. So, Study Group is a pathway provider to US universities. We also work with UK, that's what we're famous for, and Australia and New Zealand. But my portfolio is to deal with the USA predominantly. So, the universities have hired Study Group to work hand in hand with agents such as the one hosting us today, Boost Education. And together, we help get applications from all around the world and send international students to these universities. Now, the benefit of doing it that way rather than applying to, say, like Michigan State University.edu, that's where I went to university, is that your application is not going to get lost in a swarm of thousands of other international applications. Literally, because we are working with the university, you are guaranteed to get an answer from the university.
That's a great thing because students from our countries and many countries are struggling with the application because they barely know anyone from the university. And as you've mentioned, the application storm, that's definitely true. It's a hard time for our students to struggle with their files. So guys, we are here to make your life easy because Greta is great, and we will take care all of your files and send it to her because she is going to give you a certificate to the USA. Well, yeah. So, Greta, our students mostly ask us what will be their requirement, like academically and in English, because that's the main point.
Perfect. So this is where everything starts, right? An application. And what does it take to build an application? There are a few components that are absolutely necessary that, if not provided, will not be sent to the university. So, first, we need your transcripts and we need the complete transcripts. Ideally, you should have at least 75% overall or a 3.0 GPA, but it essentially comes down to what program you're applying for. The next really important piece is the English assessment. Now, the IELTS is the most widely accepted, and universities are accepting different scores for different pathway programs. But if you want direct admission, then you must achieve a 6.5 on the IELTS. The next thing is just your passport, and if there is anything else that the university requires, I'm going to ask you for it directly and we'll get it done together.
Great. And as you've mentioned, IELTS, so will you accept any other language certificates except
Amazing
IELTS?
question. So it really comes down to which university you're applying to again, but most of them are also accepting Duolingo, TOEFL, Pearson, all those main ones. But I cannot stress this enough. Your life is going to be a lot easier if you have already taken the IELTS because all the universities will accept that.
Yeah, exactly, guys. Because IELTS is the internationally approved and accepted English test. So definitely, you have an Netflix degree, but definitely you can go for IELTS, and that will make your life easier because every university will accept that. And more doors will be open for you, so you can get into from any door. Well,
Absolutely true.
Greta, I'm very concerned about the financial thing. So why don't you tell us what will I have to pay as a tuition fee in general?
Boy, who is not concerned about the financial thing? The great thing about Study Group in our USA portfolio is that we have 9 different universities and they all range in rank, in majors, and most importantly, in the tuition fees. Now, on the lower end, we've got tuition starting from just over 12,000 US dollars per year. And on the upper end, we've got tuition all the way up to 50,000 US dollars. But on top of that, scholarships, free money, right? So scholarships range from $1,000 per year all the way up to $28,000 per year. So that's essentially slashing even the most expensive tuition cost in half.
Are you kidding, Greta? Like, I'm gonna just end the session here and I'm gonna apply for US right now because that's
Good.
amazing.
Just make sure you do it through study group.
Definitely I will because we are best friends.
Yes, we
So
absolutely are.
yeah. So, well, as we have talked about some financial things, why don't you tell me how much I'll have to spend for living in the USA?
Sure. So, again, you guys, the United States is a huge country. The cost of living ranges from the East Coast to West Coast, North, South, pockets in the middle of the United States. So, it's really best that you do your own research and see the cost of apartments in your area. But most of the universities are offering their own on campus accommodation. They call it room and board. And so that's going to give you a dorm room and full access to all of the cafeterias on campus. You will not have any bills or fees outside of that. The cost of that per year is averaging at about 12 to 14,000 US dollars per year, which is going to be comparable to what you would find for a studio apartment wherever you're living.
Oh, that's great. And we have already answered one of our comment viewer who has commented the same question. So, Greta, I know I will need for IELTS and academically. So, full process as well. You've told me. So, why don't you say if I apply to university and to get the I-20, how much I'll have to pay?
Sure. So, this is probably the weirdest part about going to the United States. It's that before they will even give you half of the visa, you have to back it up with your bank statement, right? So, each university has a different level of savings that they want to see in your bank account for X amount of months. It usually starts from 3, but it's better if you have this amount in your bank for at least 6 months. Um, Now, I've seen it starting at around 30,000 US dollars, but it can go all the way up towards 80,000 US dollars. So, if your intention is to study in the United States, make sure that you skip Starbucks and you start saving as much money as you possibly can. Because in order to receive that visa, you need to have sufficient ties to your home country, and often that comes in the form of money.
Obviously, guys, you're going to USA, you need to have some money in your bank. And yeah, that's pretty much easy because anyone who is applying to USA or any other countries definitely need to have some financial backups because that's a different country. You don't know anyone there. What will you do without money? Because money runs the world. That's a sad truth, but that's it. That's
Exactly.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we have some comments here. Let me read one for you. So, you have already talked about scholarships, but we have talked about the other English test as well. Uh, so, Greta, what documents exactly I need to provide you for our students?
Sure. So again, it depends on the program because some programs, especially once you get into the master's programs, are going to require some additional documentation. Now, aside from the standard, your high school transcripts, your passport, um, and your IELTS, some programs will request that you also provide a letter of recommendation. Sometimes they prefer up to 3 letters of recommendation. Sometimes they would like a statement of purpose, which is just a short essay on what you intend to study and why. And definitely, if you have had a gap in studies for more than half of a year, then you need to, it can be very casual, honestly, just a quick statement of what you've been doing since the last time you studied. However, if the gap is quite large and you're an adult like me, then you need to explain what kind of work experience or volunteer experience, whatever it's been that you've been doing since the last time you studied.
So definitely, it's another, I would say, major thing for a student, because there are tons of students wanting to study again because they have completed very long ago. They don't really get chances in other countries. So guys, USA is the best. I'd say I love USA because you guys are offering low tuition fees, you guys are offering scholarships, you guys are offering to accept me with a long study gap. Like, are you kidding? Like,
Not only
we
that, but the
get
US is
something.
offering you jobs as well. So,
Oh my
as a
god.
student,
Is that
right?
a secret for me, Greta?
Yes. So let's talk a little bit about the jobs in the United States. So, as a student on campus, you are eligible to work up to 20 hours per week. And I want you to think about the campus as kind of like a snow globe. It's like its own world, essentially. It has Starbucks, it has grocery stores, it has a library, it has everything that you can imagine. So that is lots of opportunities for jobs. And in fact, I worked in the cafeteria my freshman year of campus, and I worked as a barista at one of the coffee shops on campus. And so that's pocket money, that's savings, that's whatever it is. And that's 20 hours of legal work throughout your duration of being a student. Now, after you're a student, if you have studied any STEM program, that's any science program, including computer science, including a master's of science in business, that exists, that makes you eligible for a 3-year postgraduate work visa. So if you are interested in staying in the US after you study, then definitely, definitely go with a STEM program because that's going to open so many more doors for you.
That's awesome. And guys, you are with any engineering or computer science programs, you're going to make yourself a skilled person. And who doesn't accept and want a skilled person? Because they run the industry. Yeah.
Exactly.
Greta, we have a question from our viewer. Let me show it to you. The question is, can the property be used as tied to our country?
That is a
What
great
do you think?
question. Yes, so that is an asset that you have, and that can be liquid money essentially. So, absolutely, you can use that as part of your request for the I-20. But unfortunately, you still do need to show the minimum amount required in the bank. So during the interview, this is going to be very, very helpful because that officer on the other side of the interview is essentially trying to get at, do you pose an immigration risk? And the number one visa refusal sentence on that slip says insufficient ties to home country. So that is absolutely going to be an amazing way to show your ties to your home country. Other great ways to show that would be relationships, business endeavors that you have, like any future plans that you have. And you can explicitly say, I want to get my education from the United States to bring it back to my home country to help them back home. And that's going to show sufficient ties as well.
Yeah. And the very important thing is bank statement is used to show that the money is accessible anytime because you need to pay fees or your living cost. So if that money is on a property that needs to be sold to get the money and then you can use it, that's not a point because you'll be stuck in that paying situation for a longer time. So definitely you need to show some income source that flows cash or a bank statement where your money can be accessed anytime. So definitely You can show your property, but bank money is mandatory.
That is true. Thank you for elaborating.
No worries, definitely. Well, so for applications, you've mentioned we need all of documents and everything. Do we need any application fees? Maybe you've answered it. I don't remember, but can you repeat it?
No, so that's the best part about applying through an agent. So, since we work with the university, we get this wonderful benefit of getting to waive all of the application fees. So, you can apply to up to 5 universities through study group, and it's going to cost you goose egg, nothing.
Great. So I'm really interested to start my study in the USA, but as it's already what it's November and the December is already coming. So when should I start, and how many intakes or sessions you have over the year?
Perfect. So, this is actually a great opportunity for me to explain the US system because it is very different from the UK system and it's a lot more forgiving as well. So, the US is constantly having news cycles. We've got spring, summer, fall, winter, all over. And you can join pretty much any time. That's the benefit of going the US route because if you were to study in a UK system as a freshman, you have to start in September or August or whenever they start. You cannot start in winter because they're already past you. But in the US
Yeah.
system, if you're like, you know what, I just want to hang out for a season and then start in January, Habibi, you can totally do that and you're not going to be left behind. Sure, your graduation date might be a semester later than the cohort that started a semester before you, but between you and me, you can also catch up to them by taking summer classes. But my point is, you can start anytime, but the main point for you guys that I want you to realize is that the biggest struggle is always with the visa. So it is in your best interest to start your application as early as possible. I'm talking 6 months plus ahead of the actual course start date, because that's going to give you better chances of actually getting that visa, from what I've seen at least.
Exactly, because guys, we all know how busy the embassy schedules are, and definitely to get a visa, you need to go to the embassy. And as USA is famous for offering so many things and so tempting offers that I'm already tempted by, and that's why they are so busy. The visa people are so busy. So definitely keep time on your hands and start at least 6 months, as Greta says, because she's great. So, yeah, exactly. We have another question, Greta. I'm gonna show this to you and read it out. Is it acceptable if father transfers money in child account, or do we need transaction? Also, can the father or uncle statement be acceptable?
Amazing question. So, when you have requested the I-20 from the university, they're going to give you this piece of paper that you need to fill out called the affidavit of support. And it doesn't matter how your money is chunked up, it just all needs to be accounted for. So it is absolutely acceptable to have the father's money listed, the uncle's money listed, the grandma's money listed, as long as it's all written on that affidavit of support. And the most important thing is that all of the amounts listed need to equal at least what is required in order to receive that I-20. And I can't remember if we already went over this, but the I-20 amount required to show in your bank account can range anywhere from around 30,000 US dollars all the way up to 80,000 US dollars, depending on the institution. So as soon as you have any idea of where you want to go, just make sure you talk to Boost Education. You can talk to me, and we're going to give you the full holistic picture so that you don't waste any time with applying to universities where you won't be able to get the I-20. We want to send you to the United States. So, and we have lots and lots of options for you if you are on a smaller budget. So let's start that conversation and get realistic expectations for how much we need to start saving.
Exactly. And how much exactly? Because I'm very tempted to ask this. How much exactly I need to show on my bank statement?
Well, it depends on the university. So, for example, our most affordable university is called Texas A&M Corpus Christi. And I'm looking up their I-20 amount required to show right now for undergraduate students. And for last year, the amount was $32,971. So it's a really specific number. And if somebody did the math even slightly incorrectly and it was just 1 cent off, then they're going to send back your documents and say, no, you don't have enough money, even if it's just 1 cent off.
Exactly, that's great. We have another questions. It's a lot of questions today, Greta, for you, right?
Great. All right.
Because you answered so accurately, and this session is going to be so informative for our students. I've already getting comments about the session is a great run. So that's why maybe we are having so many questions today. So you have seen the question. Can you let me read it out for you? Can you help us getting U.S. student visa? If yes, then how? What actually U.S. immigration officers observe in an application while interview? So basically, what do the immigration officers sees or ask or want to see in a student when they interview?
That is a great question. And by the way, when you do get that I-20 from the university, I am more than happy to coach you on passing that visa interview. But essentially, that officer, all they have in front of them is your I-20 document and affidavit of support. So all they can really see is what sort of finances you have and that the university has already agreed to issue you a visa. They're going to ask you probably around 5 questions within the span of just 5 minutes or less. And all of those questions are going to be targeted at one thing, which is are you planning on staying in the United States? Are you going to pose some sort of immigration risk? And do you have sufficient ties to your home country? Again, it really is kind of that simple. But there can also be a lot of nuances in the questions that they ask you. So that's why it's really important to, once you do get that I-20, sit with a coach so that you're prepared for any sort of question that comes at you and you don't accidentally say something that's going to indicate that you have no interest in coming back home.
Exactly, and guys, you don't need to really worry because you are going to come to Boost, and we are going to send you to Greta, and she will help you out after your I-20 as she has promised. She will prepare you or take your mock test and get you ready for the interview. I know we all get nervous and we have hesitations when we talk to people like that important position. So it's not an issue. Just start your application today. We will help you out. Greta will help you out, and together we will send you to USA.
Yes.
So, Greta, I have a risk assessment question coming over on mind. Like, maybe, can you please tell me what grounds the immigration officers can refuse my visa application? Because I'm a very good guy.
Yeah, so I've seen unfortunately a lot of visa refusals, and they all say the exact same thing. It says student was unable to show sufficient ties to their home country. This may come in the form of property, of finances, whatever. It always says the same exact thing. So you're never really going to get that kind of closure of speaking with the officer and saying like, "Hey, like what was it about me that kind of threw you off?" Uh so
Dude,
it really
tell
comes
me,
down
tell
to
me what have I done?
right? So, and you guys, this happens so often. Do not take it personally, and you can always try again. Sometimes it's just the nerves, sometimes it's just the vibe, sometimes it's just that lady didn't have her coffee this morning and she was out for everyone. So,
Yeah,
do not let it get to
because
you.
Greta has stopped working on the cafe. She didn't
Yeah,
get the coffee.
exactly. Barista Greta is no longer.
Exactly.
But it's nothing to worry about if you know that, you are an authentic student. Not to compare or anything, but the Australia system has genuine temporary entrant. So the US is kind of looking for the same thing, a genuine temporary entrant. Um, then there's nothing for you to worry about. It all comes down to just confidence, coolness, and knowing what you're going to say when those questions are thrown at you.
Yeah, exactly. I believe that so because, guys, you are going to study because you love your career. You want to build a very good career. So if your intention is genuine enough, if you are showing all your funds which are genuine enough, you don't need to really worry because that lady who didn't get the coffee in the morning can really get impressed by your answers, and she can be happy without getting a coffee and get you the visa. So definitely don't worry about that. Just get everything genuinely corrected, or just be genuine. That's it. That's it. Okay. And
Absolutely. And
visa cannot determine you or cannot underestimate your potential. So definitely don't worry about it. Yeah, Greta,
just
you were
to add on
saying.
to that, yeah, there's no risk involved whatsoever in starting an application through an agent, especially like Boost Education, because it's no cost to you. Once you get that I-20, you may have to pay a small deposit fee. But if you get the visa refusal, that deposit is 100% refundable. So there's literally absolutely no risk uh, to you guys whatsoever. So just go for it. You got to send it into the universe for everything that you want.
Yeah, exactly. So we have another question from our viewer, which is, would we require any letter from uncle or father or grandmother, etc., that it's gift money? Yeah, like that financial thing. Yeah, if they shows their bank solvency on father or uncle's name, would they need a letter from them?
Well, if it's a situation where the money is not in the uncle or grandmother's account and it's in the child's account, then there's no need really for an explanation. However, it may be helpful just to have ready in case it is requested. So the I-20 request is really kind of touch and go. And sometimes, even if you have the amount required to show, sometimes the university will ask you for a little bit more information, uh, just because their reputation as a university is also on the line. If they end up issuing I-20s to students who end up not being genuine temporary entrants, then their reputation is going to diminish, unfortunately. So if you think that uh, it would be wise to have an explanation like, hey, this was a gift, just have it written up. And in case they ask for it, it's already ready.
Yeah, exactly. So just for safety purposes, make everything ready because you won't get much time after the decision or the process is started to get these documents ready. We have another question. Let me show it to you. I might have missed, but what English tests are acceptable, please? So yeah, can
Hey,
you
no
please go?
worries. We're just happy that you're here.
Exactly.
So, lots of different English tests are accepted at different universities, but sometimes they're a little bit picky. Most universities are accepting Duolingo and TOEFL, but definitely all of them are accepting the IELTS. So, I strongly encourage all students to take the IELTS. It's going to make applying to numerous universities a lot easier for you. Other ones I've seen are Pearson, but anything outside of the list, IELTS, TOEFL, Duolingo, Pearson, I would say most universities will not accept.
Yeah, just do IELTS because, as we have already said, your Netflix English is very good, but definitely go for IELTS. It will make all the universities door open for you. Okay,
True.
go for it. And it's I would say it's a phobic type and phobia type that IELTS is hard, but it's really not. Okay, just take a preparation of 1 month and sit for a test. You will pass. You will pass definitely. Well, I think we are having like a lot of questions today for you, Greta, and we're really, really grateful to you because you've answered them so gracefully and It was so amazing. So, can you just give a touch on the full process of study group, starting from the application to getting the I-20 done?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are two kind of ways that study group works. One is the pathway program, which is for the student who has submit their IELTS and submit their transcripts, and they're falling just a little below the direct admission requirements to the university. Now, for that student, they're going to join the pathway program at the university, which can be 1 to 3 semesters long. They're going to develop skills to be a stronger university student, and they're going to develop those English skills so that they can actually understand everything once they're on campus. The more popular route, and Jakir, you keep mentioning Netflix English, coining me here. Everyone is amazing at English now because of Netflix. Like everyone has an
Yeah.
American accent. So
Well,
most of the
my English teacher was Netflix as well, and I'm speaking very good. Would you rate me, please?
I love it. I love it. So that's
Yeah.
going to make most of you students, though. If you have a 3.0 GPA and a 6.5 on the IELTS, that's going to make you eligible for direct admission at most of these universities. So from start to finish, you guys give Boost Education your transcripts, your passport, and your IELTS. That's going to be good enough for most of you guys. However, if you are entering a field that is postgraduate or like honors hard sciencey, then we might need a little more documentation. Boost Education gives it to Study Group, and we have our own internal admissions department. This is why we're working with the university, so that if this application for sure is not going to make the minimum requirements at the university, then the university doesn't have to deal with it. But this is why it's so crucial that you guys provide all the documentation up front, so we're not playing this back and forth game and we can just take it, give it to the university. Now, the benefit of taking this pathway option here, working with an agent, working with study group, is that the university is literally begging us to bring you guys to their campus. So you're guaranteed to get a response from the university versus if you go to anyuniversity.edu, their website, you may never actually hear from the university. So if it's really important for you, even to hear a no, absolutely apply through an agent. It's going to save you a lot of time and a lot of money as well.
Yeah, exactly. So, Greta, we are at a very, very end of our session today, but definitely,
No.
yeah, it's very sad for me as well. I don't want to. I want to talk to you for hours and hours, but definitely. Um, okay. So, any last word for our viewers and our students from you?
Yes. You guys just believe in yourselves. No matter what happens, it's going to work out. Even if plan A doesn't work out, even if plan Z doesn't work out, there are other languages with other alphabets. And as long as you love yourself and you are nice to everyone around you, everything's going to work out and it's going to be okay.
Exactly. So just chill and be cool and come to Boost. We will like figure it out together. Don't get stressed, okay? Life is beautiful, live it fully.
Exactly. And we're here
All
for
right.
you.
Yeah, exactly. So today, Greta, it was a great session with you. I really loved it. I always love talking with you, and I'm very sad that we have to end it here. But definitely, students and viewer, we will be back again with the one and only our USA and Australia and New Zealand lady Greta, and yeah, we will have another session, and we will let you know be and stay tuned with us. So, Greta, say bye to our students.
Bye, you guys. Thank you so much for attending.
Exactly. Bye bye.